You do not die because food is gone. You die because you believed you were prepared correctly. The most dangerous moment in a crisis is not when the shelves are empty. It is when your pantry is still full, but nothing inside can sustain you for 30 more days. A crisis does not take food first. It takes cash. Then it takes choice. Then it takes substitution. When income drops 20 to 30%, you do not change your meals immediately. You change quality, then portion size, then expectations. And by the time you realize what you have been buying is not enough to carry your household through another month, starting from zero has become too expensive. The truth is, most supermarket food is designed for convenience, not long-term survival. Today, I will be direct. If you had to go through a prolonged 3 to 6 month disruption, only 6 foods would truly keep you standing. Everything else only makes you feel secure, not sustained. If you are over 50 and want to prepare calmly, without panic, subscribe. Here I only talk about what truly keeps you standing, not what sounds good. 6. Iodized salt. The smallest thing, but without it you fall. People think salt is just a seasoning. Cheap, always available, not worth storing. But when a winter storm leaves hundreds of thousands of households without power, highways frozen, trucks stranded, the truth shows itself. The smallest things often keep the system standing. In deep cold, the body burns more energy to stay warm. Dry air increases water loss through breathing. During heavy labor, an adult can lose 500 to 1,000 milligrams of sodium per hour through sweat. If you only drink water without replacing electrolytes, sodium in the blood becomes diluted. Once blood sodium drops below 135 millimoles per liter, you enter hyponatremia, confusion, dizziness, irregular heartbeat. The body can endure hunger for weeks, but electrolyte imbalance can take you down within 24 to 48 hours, especially in older adults. A hospital in the southern United States once admitted a man in his 60s after several days without power. He did not lack food. He drank plenty of water, but he had no electrolytes. He was not hungry. He collapsed from internal imbalance. The issue is not calories. The issue is balance. Iodized salt plays a deeper role. Iodine helps the thyroid regulate metabolism and body temperature. Around 2 billion people worldwide still lack adequate iodine in their diets. Deficiency does not knock you down immediately. It weakens you gradually, reducing cognition and your ability to adapt to temperature stress. Winter storms expose something else. Fresh food spoils quickly when power is lost. Meat, fish, and milk may have to be discarded after 24 to 48 hours if temperatures are unstable. At that point, salt is not only an electrolyte, it is a preservation tool. Curing meat, salting fish, fermenting vegetables, extending food 48 to 72 more hours can mean the difference between calm and panic. In a prolonged disruption, salt also holds barter value. It is light, easy to divide, universally needed, and does not depend on electricity or refrigeration. In a broken system, essentials carry value. Salt barely expires if kept dry. No mold, no degradation. In a world where everything has a shelf life, what does not spoil holds power. Salt provides no calories. You cannot survive on salt alone. But without salt, your system is incomplete. It regulates fluids, hormones, preserves food, and keeps a safe path when ice forms. In every survival system, the most overlooked item often becomes the final deciding factor. If you ignore salt, you do not lack seasoning, you lack balance. 5. Peanut butter. Fuel for brain and hormones. You do not collapse because you run out of rice. You collapse because you run out of fat. This is what most people do not realize when they talk about survival. Many store carbohydrates. Many talk about protein. But fat is the quiet foundation that keeps the body running long-term. In history, there was a phenomenon called rabbit starvation. Hunters in North America once survived for weeks on lean rabbit meat. They ate enough. They were not hungry, but their bodies deteriorated from lack of fat. Diarrhea, fatigue, metabolic disruption, gradual wasting even while the stomach was full. Eating enough, yet still collapsing. That is the real danger. An adult body requires at least about 20 to 30% of total daily energy from fat to maintain stable hormones, absorb vitamins, and protect the nervous system. Fat is not just calories. It is the foundation of testosterone, estrogen, cortisol, and thyroid hormones. About 60% of the brain's structure is lipid. Without adequate fat, the brain does not function optimally. Prolonged fat deficiency does not knock you down immediately. It slows you. Unstable mood, declining memory, fatigue even while eating enough rice. In people over 50, hormone decline due to insufficient fat directly affects bone density and muscle strength. Carbs burn fast. Fat burns slow and steady. During the recent winter storms in the United States, when many families lost power for days, the body had to expend more energy to stay warm. When you shovel snow, repair a roof, clear a path, you do not just need calories, you need dense and stable calories. 1 tablespoon of peanut butter contains about 190 to 200 calories. A 16-ounce jar holds nearly 2,700 to 3,000 calories. No cooking required. No gas. No electricity. In deep cold, fat becomes sustainable heat fuel. Carbs help you surge quickly. Fat helps you endure. A 63-year-old viewer once commented under a previous video, "I thought peanut butter was just a snack, until we lost power for 2 days in the middle of winter. I ate a few spoonfuls each morning before shoveling snow, and it was the only thing that kept me from exhaustion." That is not a slogan. That is a real experience from someone who lived through a real situation. There is something even more important. Fat is often the first thing to disappear in a prolonged crisis. Carbs can be grown. Beans can replace animal protein. But stable fat that stores well and does not turn rancid quickly is difficult to maintain. In many historical disruptions, butter, lard, and cooking oil rose in price and vanished faster than rice. Without fat, you do not die immediately. You simply fade slowly. Strategically, peanut butter has several advantages. Light, calorie-dense, ready to eat, suitable for both children and older adults. In a barter environment, dense fat carries high value because it represents sustained energy. But choose carefully. Avoid versions high in added sugar and hydrogenated oils. Select simple ingredients, peanuts and salt. Store in a cool place, away from light. Shelf life is typically about 1 to 2 years, so rotate regularly rather than storing too long. Peanut butter does not replace every food, but in a survival system, it bridges calories and hormones, energy and alertness. Carbs help you get through the day. Protein helps you preserve muscle, but fat helps you get through the winter. And in a crisis, getting through the winter is what determines the outcome. 4. Whole wheat berries. When bread disappears, society panics. Society does not collapse because of luxury shortages. Society collapses because of missing staple food. In 1789, before the French Revolution, bread prices at times consumed nearly half of a working family's income. When wheat became scarce and bread prices surged, people were not just hungry, they lost trust in order. History has repeatedly shown that when wheat prices rise sharply, social instability often follows. In the 21st century, whenever global grain prices spiked 30 to 40%, many countries recorded waves of protests and tension. People do not panic over missing steak. People panic over missing bread. That is not taste. That is foundation. Look at recent disruptions. When supply chains faltered, packaged bread was often one of the first items to disappear. Not because it had the most protein, but because it represented a normal meal. When normal disappears, psychology destabilizes. The issue is not only calories. The issue is dependence. Flour depends on milling plants. Bread depends on industrial ovens and trucks delivering each morning. The supermarket depends on highways that are not frozen shut. Whole wheat berries break that chain of dependence. If stored properly, dry, sealed, low oxygen, whole wheat can last 25 to 30 years. The intact kernel preserves structure and nutritional value far longer than milled flour. You grind when needed. You bake when needed. You do not wait for the system to restart. 1 cup of dry wheat contains about 600 to 650 calories, providing complex carbohydrates and plant protein. But its greatest value is not in the number. It is in the ability to recreate a normal meal in abnormal times. When people lose structure, they lose decision-making capacity. In a crisis, the danger is not immediate hunger. The danger is prolonged panic. When your family can still eat bread in the morning, the brain receives a signal of stability that reduces stress, preserves routine, and maintains clear thinking. The brain consumes about 120 grams of glucose per day to function optimally. Foundational carbohydrates are not the enemy in survival. They are steady fuel for thinking. When you have to repair, calculate, make decisions under pressure, sustained carbs help you stay alert. During recent winter storms in the United States, many families realized that when packaged bread disappeared, they felt more uneasy than when meat was missing. One viewer once wrote, "I am not afraid of running out of meat. I'm afraid of not having bread for my grandchild." That is family stability psychology. Grains have always been the exchange foundation in agricultural societies because they are divisible, storable, and measurable. In unstable environments, what feeds the most people holds the longest value. Society does not collapse because of missing protein. Society collapses because of missing foundational carbs. Salt preserves balance. Fat preserves sustained energy. Wheat preserves life structure. When bread remains on the table, the family keeps its rhythm. When rhythm remains, the mind stays stable. When the mind is stable, decisions remain sound. Bread does not sustain society because it tastes good. It sustains society because it is stable. And when you have whole wheat stored, you are not just preserving meals, you are preserving order. 3. Oats. Conserving fuel, preserving clarity. Not every crisis begins with unrest. Most crises begin with a cold morning, power out, no hot water, limited gas for cooking. You open the cabinet and realize, the issue is not whether you have food, it is whether you have enough fuel to cook it. In a prolonged blackout, fuel becomes more valuable than food. Beans require long cooking. Rice needs 15 to 20 minutes of heat. Meat requires refrigeration or thorough cooking. Every minute of heat is a minute of gas, wood, or backup electricity consumed. Oats are different. Just a few minutes of boiling water. Even overnight soaking if necessary. Less fuel, less water. That is not just efficiency, it is strategy. In many emergencies, cooking energy becomes the biggest bottleneck. You may have 10 kilograms of rice. But if gas runs out after 5 days, that rice becomes a burden. Oats reduce pressure on the system. Physiologically, oats provide complex carbohydrates with a much lower glycemic index than refined sugar or white bread. They release energy slowly and steadily. No sharp spike followed by a crash. No shaking hands when you need to concentrate. When sleep is short, power is unstable, routines are disrupted. What you need is not explosive energy. You need steady energy. The brain consumes glucose continuously. When blood sugar swings sharply, focus and decision-making decline. In a crisis environment, a poor decision made from fatigue or energy crash can create serious consequences. A warm bowl of oatmeal in the morning preserves routine. It sounds simple, but in crisis, preserving routine equals preserving clarity. One woman once shared that during a prolonged blackout, what worried her most was not the darkness. It was when her grandchild woke up and asked, "What are we having this morning?" She had food, but most of it required long cooking, electricity, or a lot of water. That simple bowl of oatmeal that day was not just breakfast. It was the feeling that things were still normal. Crisis does not scare children because there is no stake. It scares them because routine disappears. There was a viewer who once shared, "During a 4-day blackout, what kept my family the most stable wasn't canned meat. It was oatmeal every single morning. It made everything feel normal." That's the power of routine. Oats also have a storage advantage. Kept dry and sealed, they can last for years. No refrigeration, no complicated processing, lightweight, easy to portion, easy to combine with honey, peanut butter, or dried fruit. From a fuel efficiency standpoint, oats are high performance. Low heat required, high return. When you have to calculate every propane tank, every piece of firewood, every minute of cooking time, efficiency becomes survival. A food that needs only a few minutes of boiling water reduces pressure on your entire system. Long-term instability isn't just about how much food you have. It's about how efficiently you can use it. Oats aren't glamorous. They don't carry revolutionary history. They don't look impressive stacked in buckets. But they keep the morning from falling apart. And if the morning stays structured, the day stays manageable. In a prolonged blackout, the most valuable food isn't the most expensive one. It's the one that conserves energy and keeps your mind steady. Preserve rhythm. Preserve clarity. Preserve control. That's why oats sit here. And at the end, I'll talk about the number one item. The one that, without it, everything else becomes secondary. If you want the full picture, stay with me. 2. Dried beans, protein. That doesn't depend on refrigeration. Your body can burn carbs. Your body can burn fat. But when your body starts burning its own muscle, that's when real decline begins. Short-term crisis is about calories. Long-term crisis is about protein. An adult needs a minimum of about 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. After age 50, many experts recommend more to maintain muscle mass and reduce age-related muscle loss. For a 70-kilogram adult, that's roughly 56 grams of protein daily. Not a small number when food sources are limited. Protein deficiency doesn't make you hungrier. It makes you weaker. After 2 to 3 weeks of serious deficiency, the body begins reducing lean muscle mass. Grip strength declines, and grip strength is one of the strongest predictors of long-term health. The immune system weakens. Wounds heal slower. Older adults can lose muscle up to twice as fast as younger people under protein stress. You don't see it in the mirror immediately. You just feel a little more tired every week. That's where dried beans become strategic. They don't require refrigeration. They don't depend on a cold chain. They store for years if kept dry and sealed. 1 cup of cooked beans provides roughly 12 to 15 grams of protein, plus fiber that stabilizes blood sugar and supports gut health, something many older adults struggle with during dietary disruption. Beans aren't glamorous. They require soaking. They require cooking. But they provide something shelf-stable meat cannot: protein that doesn't spoil when the power goes out. During extended instability, animal protein becomes expensive first. Fresh meat depends on refrigeration, transportation, and feed supply chains. When fuel prices spike or logistics stall, meat prices react fast. Beans don't. In many historical crises, populations didn't collapse because they lacked steak. They collapsed when affordable protein disappeared. There's also metabolic stability. Beans combine protein and complex carbohydrates. That combination slows digestion, prevents sharp glucose swings, and sustains energy longer. In stressful conditions, stable blood sugar protects decision-making. A viewer once shared that after a hurricane left his area without power for several days, most frozen meat had to be discarded. The food that carried his household through the following week? Rice and beans. Not exciting, not Instagram-worthy, but steady. Beans are quiet insurance. They don't signal wealth. They don't feel dramatic, but they protect muscle. They protect immunity. They protect long-term resilience. Calories keep you alive. Protein keeps you functional. And in a crisis that stretches beyond a few days, staying functional is what separates discomfort from collapse. In normal life, protein comes from meat, fish, eggs, and dairy. But every one of those depends on the cold chain. When a blackout stretches beyond a day or two, the refrigerator stops being a solution. It becomes a metal box slowly holding food that's expiring. Meat counts down. Milk counts down. Eggs count down. Dried beans don't. Stored dry, sealed, and protected from moisture, beans can last 20 to 30 years. No electricity. No freezer. No delivery trucks restocking shelves every morning. In a survival system, what doesn't depend on power has a long-term structural advantage. During the early weeks of the 2020 pandemic lockdowns, beans and rice disappeared from many supermarket shelves within days. Not because they were trendy, not because of marketing, but because instinct drives people toward what is durable and reliable when uncertainty rises. Beans aren't glamorous, but they have fed civilizations. Biologically, beans provide lysine, an essential amino acid that many grains lack. When combined with rice, the two complement each other, forming a near-complete protein structure. This pairing has sustained billions of people across Asia, Latin America, and Africa for centuries, not as a backup plan, as a foundation. And here's the strategic part. Grains give structure. Beans give repair. Carbs keep the brain fueled. Protein rebuilds tissue. In long-term instability, muscle loss isn't dramatic. It's gradual. But for adults over 50, preserving muscle mass is directly tied to independence, balance, and immune strength. A few weeks of inadequate protein under stress can accelerate decline faster than most people expect. Beans don't look impressive in storage buckets. They don't feel urgent. But they protect muscle when fresh protein is no longer easy. They protect immunity when stress rises. They protect long-term strength when everything else is focused on short-term calories. When refrigeration fails, countdown foods begin to lose value. Beans don't count down. They wait. And in prolonged instability, the food that waits patiently often becomes the one that carries you through. Protein deficiency doesn't starve you. It removes your ability to protect yourself. Protein doesn't just build muscle. It builds antibodies, it repairs tissue, it helps the body recover from injury and infection. In a prolonged disruption, when medical access is delayed, clinics are overwhelmed, or routine care is postponed, your body's recovery capacity becomes survival capital. One viewer once shared, "After 2 weeks of lockdown, I realized I had plenty of snack food, but the only thing that made me feel solid was beans and rice." That feeling of being solid isn't psychological, it's physiological. Yes, beans require cooking. They use more water and fuel than oats. But in the system you're building, each food plays a role. Oats stabilize the morning. Wheat preserves structure. Peanut butter sustains dense energy. Beans prevent slow internal erosion. Salt maintains balance. Fat maintains fuel. Grains maintain structure. Oats maintain rhythm. Beans prevent breakdown from the inside out. Hunger makes you look for food. Protein loss makes you too weak to go get it. I once read about an older man after the first lockdown wave. He wasn't starving. His pantry was full of packaged food, but very little real protein. After several weeks, he noticed something subtle. He felt weaker, not dramatic, not cinematic, just a little harder to stand each morning, a little harder to carry groceries, a little slower to recover from small strains. He didn't starve. He deteriorated. That kind of collapse doesn't show up in headlines. But in long-term instability, the most dangerous loss isn't calories. It's strength you didn't realize was slipping. If you're over 50, muscle loss accelerates faster than most people think, especially under stress and reduced protein intake. Preserving strength isn't vanity, it's independence. If you'd like a dedicated video on preventing muscle loss after 50 during crisis, what to store, what to eat, how to structure protein, comment, muscle. I'll build it around what you actually need, not theory. 1. Rice. The foundation of every survival system. If tomorrow you were allowed to keep only one sack of food in your home, what would you choose? Across thousands of years, many civilizations answered that question with one very simple word: rice. Not because it is perfect, not because it is the most nutrient-dense, but because it is the most stable. A 25-kilogram sack of rice contains approximately 80,000 to 90,000 calories. At an average intake of 2,000 calories per day, that is more than 40 days of energy for one adult. No refrigeration required, no additives, no cold chain. White rice, if stored dry, sealed, and low oxygen, can last 25 to 30 years. 30 years. Very few foods offer that level of long-term predictability. In recent years, there have been moments when major rice-producing countries restricted exports to protect domestic supply during global market volatility. A single policy decision can push prices higher and tighten international supply within weeks. That reveals a reality. Even what appears to be the most common staple can become fragile when the system is under stress. You can live a few days without meat. You can tolerate missing snacks. But imagine 3 days without rice in your home. That feeling isn't just hunger, it's loss of foundation. Foundational carbohydrates keep the body from shifting too quickly into breakdown mode. When energy intake drops long enough, the body burns fat and eventually muscle. Without an affordable, durable carb base, every protein and fat strategy becomes harder and more expensive to sustain. Without a base, the system collapses. Salt cannot feed you. Fat cannot fully replace carbohydrates. Protein cannot function properly without baseline energy. Rice is the anchor that allows everything else to work. It combines with beans to form near-complete protein. It combines with salt to maintain electrolyte balance. It combines with peanut butter to increase calorie density. It combines with wheat to diversify meal structure. Rice does not try to be a superfood. It performs one critically important job. It keeps you from collapsing. In any long-term disruption, the strongest systems are not built on variety. They are built on foundation. In long-term instability, calculation matters more than variety. You can portion rice precisely. You can predict how long it will last. You can build a plan around it. That is the power of simplicity. Sustainable simplicity always defeats fragile complexity. When everything starts disappearing, what remains is not the most delicious food. It is the sufficient food. An intact sack of rice in the corner of your home is worth more than a refrigerator full of food slowly spoiling. In crisis, what determines survival is not excess. It is foundation. And rice is that foundation. These 6 foods are not for comfort. They are for structured survival. Shelves will not warn you, but your kitchen will determine whether you stay calm or panic. If today you could start with only 3 items, what would you choose? Here, we are not talking about fear. We are talking about calm preparation. When crisis arrives, you will not have time to relearn from the beginning. You will only have what is already in your kitchen. And at that point, what decides whether you remain calm or panic is not how much food you have. It is whether you understood the system. Preparation is not for comfort. Preparation is so you are not the weakest person in the room.